I would like you, in your best descriptive words, tell me what it was like, what you saw. But here's how it has to happen: where you walk out of the press room and you start walking toward the practice field. I want you to
Okay.
say, I close the door and this is what I'm doing in 3 minutes.
Okay. When did it start? It started 1:30. We walk out of the press room. It's hot. It gets really hot in Santa Clara. It's like in the 80s. We walk out to the room to the practice field, and there's about 50 rookies out there, and they're just stretching. They look like real 49ers, but they're on their first practice ever. And you're all trying to find where are the draft picks, where are their numbers, where's 14? He's Ricky Pearsall. So they stretch, and you're getting ready.
So you're looking. Do you have binoculars?
No, they're right in front of you. You have a roster because these are guys that are all new, and you're trying to figure out where are the draft picks, what are their numbers, where are they, what do they look like, and this is your first time seeing them in person. So, what does Dominic Pooney look like in a jersey and a helmet? What does Ricky Pearsall look like in drills? Because I've seen Brandon Ayuk in the same drill. I've seen Deebo Samuel in the same setting. I remember them in rookie minicamp. So I'm looking and trying to just take in first impression. Is he big? Is he short? Is he strong? Is he look like a rookie? Does he look like a veteran? So you watch them warm up and they run around little cones, and then eventually they break apart and they do 7-on-7s. So the offensive and defensive linemen are just standing and watching, and the quarterbacks and the DBs and the wide receivers and the linebackers and the running backs are out there actually competing like they know the freaking playbook. And there's 16 plays of that, and 4 of them go to Pearsall. He doesn't catch any, but not all the throws are good. You're watching him go against Renardo Green. They match up against each other. Renardo Green presses him and jams him at the line of scrimmage and does a good job. Then he tries to cover him playing off, and Ricky Pearsall runs this beautiful stutter go double move and beats him. So you're like being bombarded with information and raw material, and you're trying your best to take it all in, which is really hard. Like, you go to a baseball game, everything happens sequentially. Pitcher has the ball, he pitches it, then spotlights on the hitter, either he hits it or not, and then the spotlights on the fielder. But in football, it's like, okay, there's 22 guys, or in this case, there's 14 guys in the field. Who am I looking at? And I was looking at Pearsall. He's the first round pick. I think that's the most important person to watch. When he's going against Green, great. Now I can knock off 2 birds with 1 stone, watch 2 guys at the same time. But then there's certain guys like you don't see, like, well, I didn't make it a point to watch 4th round pick safety Malik Mustafa, because you can't watch everyone. And then you come away being like, damn, I missed that. And then Larry watched Malik Mustafa, so he can sort of fill in, and fans can go from one guy to another and get the full picture. It's like, it's hard. No one content creator, journalist can give the full picture, but the 8 of us, if we do a good job, can. So what I like to do is not stand with other journalists, because if we stand together, we sort of start sharing our observations and request confirmation that you saw that too, right? And then we all have the same report. So it's a little scarier, but stand on your own and try to get as many observations as you could. Like the time where Ricky Pearsall beat Renardo Green on a stutter go, he didn't get the ball. Quarterback threw the ball away. I just happened to be watching those 2 that time, and it stood out. It could have been easily something I missed, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't see it, because how can you see everything? So that's what I saw.
Are you writing in a notebook?
I'm writing in a notebook. When they're warming up, I'm not writing things down. I'm filming things. I'm filming the wide receivers. I'm noticing where Kyle Shanahan is. He's standing next to John Lynch, and Nick Sorensen is now in the crew. He gets to stand along with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch at practice. That's where D'Amico Ryans used to stand. It's where Robert Saleh used to stand. So I'm sort of looking at what's Kyle looking at. And then when they start competing, that's when I write everything down. That I think is the most important stuff.
How far are you away from the actual practice field?
It's right in front of me. I'm on the sideline. It's right in front of me.
Okay.
So the players are 20 yards from me.
Okay. And you can hear things.
Yes. You can hear things. And go ahead.
Kyle stands on the other side, right? Near the other sideline.
No, when they're warming up, but when they're actually doing 7-on-7, Kyle is in the end zone looking straight on it. And that's how his dad does too. Like, his dad will come for training camp to watch practice. He'll stand in the end zone. Now, I know some coaches prefer to stand behind the action at a 45-degree angle so they can sort of be closer and see what's going on in the offensive line. But Kyle likes to see, I guess, the opposite angle from the end zone. It's like his dad.
Sure, that's his choice.
Yeah.
Does he
Yeah.
take notes?
No, he holds a football.
He holds the football.
He's always holding a football like he wishes he were the quarterback or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to watch tape later, and he can
Yeah.
take notes, or he may have a really good visual memory, and he
Sure.
doesn't need to take notes. I'm not putting him down. I'm
No.
just trying to bring people there.
Yes.
So now the practice lasts X amount of minutes or hour and a half, and then they blow that long horn, and it's over.
Yep. There's a long horn.
Okay.
Maybe they do it a few times, and then they all huddle up, and I think Kyle Shanahan gives some words of inspiration, like, good job today, keep working, and then they give a cheer for themselves. And as that's happening, I immediately start walking off the field and do my little 2-minute instant reaction with the people in the background to show the viewers that I'm actually there, and it just ended.
Got it. And the players leave the practice field, walk across that little street, and go to their locker room in the stadium. Used to be the locker room was right next to the practice field, but now there's no cars on the street. It's just they go through a fence and there's a little street, and then they go into the locker room.
Yes, and they go to the locker room, and we're not invited into the locker room until the end of training camp, so we won't see him again.
Oh, you don't get really to talk to them.
No, what they'll do is they might bring out some players to the media room to talk to us, but until they've cut down their roster to 53 players in September, we're not invited in the locker room. And it's funny how NFL teams make arbitrary rules, like it's their rules. And they probably would never have us in the locker room if they didn't have to, but they chalk this one up to, I think, safety. Too many people in there. It's crowded. The room is freaking huge, but okay.
In the old days, they would have people come talk, but if they felt it was too crowded, I could say to Rodney Knox, who was running PR for them, Rodney, I'd like to talk to so-and-so. Could he meet me outside here in the grass? Yeah, we'll have him out here in 5 minutes.
They still do stuff like that. They still do stuff like that. Yes. Okay. You can ask to get a player and they'll bring him out. But if it's like someone like Brock Purdy, they'll probably say, we'll get back to you in 5 years. Yeah. If you want to talk to someone on the practice squad, I'm sure they can work that out.
Fair enough. If everybody was asking for Joe Montana, that would be bad too. So that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like Brock Purdy has time to give every single journalist in the Bay Area a 20-minute one-on-one. I get it.
But here's the thing, Iggy. What I would suggest is, you used to get a media guide. Now it's all online. Mm-hmm. But when they get their roster, there's going to be rookies on that roster and free agents that they came over. There's always a part at the end that says personal in their bio. I always read because I learned things and it could lead to interviews. Like when I learned that what's his face was a painter.
Vernon Davis.
And he was a good painter. And I went up to him. I mean, first of all, he's a very nice man. And I went up to him. I said, "You're a painter?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Would you bring some of your art to the facility, and I'll bring a photographer. I'll do a article about you, and we'll get photos of your art in the paper." Hell, he was there the next day with 7 paintings. So, Iggy, there are treasures like that in the bios of the new guys.
I wrote an article about Vernon Davis, the same article, essentially like writing about him and his paintings, and I asked him to bring one, and he brought one. And I remember it was a self-portrait, and half of his face was completely black, like shadowed, couldn't see it. And it seemed like the most drastic artistic choice he made in the piece. So I asked him, "Why'd you paint your face like that?" And he said, "It's a good question. I didn't know at the time, but I've thought about it, and I think I was angry back then. And I think that kind of reflects the anger I felt as a young man." That was an interesting answer.
Wow. By the way, I've seen that painting. It's a hell of a painting.
It's a hell of a painting.
Hell of a painting.
Yeah, like why'd you paint your face like that? I was an angry guy. Okay.
And you love him because he answered, yeah.
Wow. As opposed to, I don't know. I didn't think about it. It just looked nice. No, I was an angry.
Let me say, I have to watch the tape.